At Nomad's Embassy, one of the most common questions we get is which digital nomad visa is best, Spain or Portugal? And while I can't tell you definitively which one is better because it depends on your situation and your interests, I'm going to dive into a complete comparison of both Spain's digital nomad visa and Portugal's digital nomad visa to help you make the decision. Hi, I'm Brittany from Nomad's Embassy, the world's first embassy for digital nomads, where we simplify the digital nomad lifestyle and bureaucracy one digital nomad visa at a time. When choosing a digital nomad visa to apply for, there are a few things that you should consider, and those are going to be the eligibility requirements, tax implications, minimum stay requirements, family inclusion allowance, and the application process, as well as long-term benefits of living in the country with the digital nomad visa. And that's exactly what we're going to cover today about Spain and Portugal's digital nomad visas. So let's start with diving into the eligibility requirements for these visas. To be eligible for Spain's digital nomad visa, you must earn at least €2,762 per month, and that's going to be before taxes. If you plan to bring a spouse or minor dependents, this amount will increase. You also have to work remotely, either as an employee, a freelancer, or a business owner with entities established outside of Spain. You must also have a university degree, and if you don't have a university degree, you have to prove that you have at least 3 years of industry experience. If you're working for a company or own a company, you must prove that it has been operating for at least 1 year as well. Before applying for the visa, you must also work in your current position for at least 3 months. And you have to have a clean criminal record from the last 5 years and international health insurance with coverage in Spain. Now, to be eligible for Portugal's digital nomad visa, you must also work remotely, either as a freelancer, employee, or business owner for entities established outside of Portugal. And from this remote work, you must earn at least €3,480 per month, but that's going to be after taxes. And of course, if you plan to bring a spouse or dependents, this amount will increase. You'll also have to have a clean criminal record from the last 5 years, international health insurance, and a 12-month lease for a property in Portugal before you apply. So while Portugal has fewer requirements than Spain, the minimum income requirement is slightly higher. Now, it's also important to mention that both of these digital nomad visas allow applicants to include their family members. And this can be a spouse or an unmarried partner that you can prove you have a stable relationship with, minor dependent children, and you can also include dependent parents. Not all visa application processes are the same, and it's true for both Spain and Portugal. So let's dive into a brief explanation about the application processes for both of these visas. For Spain, there are 2 methods to submit your application. The first is a more traditional way, where you apply for the 12-month digital nomad visa at a Spanish consulate in your country of residence. Once your visa is approved, you may arrive in Spain and apply for a 3-year residence permit. Or the second way allows you to arrive in Spain as a tourist. So your passport must allow you to enter Spain visa-free, or you have to obtain a Schengen entry visa. And then as a tourist in Spain, you can apply directly for the 3-year residence permit under the eligibility requirements of the digital nomad visa. And the processing time for that is only about 20 days, so it is the fastest option. Portugal only offers one way to submit your application, and that's going to be from your country of residence, either at a Portuguese consulate or a VFS office. The processing time takes around 60 days after applying for the visa. Once your visa is approved, it'll be valid for either 12 months or 4 months, depending how long you plan to stay in Portugal. And here's where it gets a little tricky. If your visa is valid for 4 months, that means when you arrive in Portugal, you can apply for a 2-year residence permit. And this residence permit is renewable. If you have the 12-month Portugal digital nomad visa, technically it's not renewable. However, you can still apply for the residence permit if you wish to stay longer. So you just got your residence permit. Now, how long do you have to stay in these countries to keep your residency valid? For Spain, you must be present for at least 183 days out of the year, to keep your residence permit valid. If you are not present in the country for this required amount of time, they could revoke your residency. Portugal's minimum stay requirement is a little more complicated. Since your first residence permit will be valid for 2 years, you may leave the country for a total of 8 months during those 2 years. However, you cannot leave the country for more than 6 months at a time. When you renew your 2-year residence permit, it will likely be valid for 3 years. And this minimum stay requirement transfers over to the 3 years. So within those 3 years, you can only leave 8 months in total. And again, if you do not stay the required amount of time, you could risk losing your residency in these countries. So you're spending the majority of your time either in Spain or Portugal. What does this mean for taxes? Will you become a tax resident? The answer is yes, you will become a tax resident in both Spain and Portugal with the digital nomad visas. Since taxes are very personal and the tax rate depends on your income and the type of work that you do, we're not going to dive into those details. However, the main takeaway is that you will owe local taxes. Okay, so you're paying taxes to these countries while you're living there. Is there any long-term benefit of living there? Yes. After 5 years of living in Spain and not leaving the country for more than a total of 10 months within those 5 years, you could be eligible for permanent residency. The same goes for Portugal. However, the minimum stay requirement is the same as retaining your residency, which I mentioned earlier. And after getting permanent residency, you could put yourself on a path to citizenship by naturalization. To become a citizen of Spain, you must live there for 10 years. Now, the important thing to note is that Spain usually does not allow dual citizenship except with selected countries. But for Portugal, you can apply for citizenship through naturalization after only living in the country for 5 years. So it's half the time to get an EU passport compared to Spain. And there you have it, a complete comparison between Spain and Portugal's digital nomad visas. So I hope this information helps you with making your decision about which one is right for you and your family if you plan to bring them. But if you're still on the fence, we've got you covered. Nomad's Embassy offers a 30-minute visa exploration call where you'll meet one-on-one with either me or one of our visa experts, where we will dive into your eligibility, talk about what your short and long-term goals are for applying for a digital nomad visa, and narrow down your options while also talking through them to hopefully find the best one or two for you to proceed with. If you'd like to chat about your next move in your digital nomad lifestyle, schedule your exploration call through the link below this video. And if you've already made up your mind about which digital nomad visa you'd like to apply for, I'm happy to introduce you to Nomad's Embassy's hand-selected local immigration lawyers who can assist you throughout the entire application process with our done-for-you digital nomad visa service. And again, that link is going to be down in the description below this video. Happy nomading!